The Highland Hills tower the skies. But the shadows they cast draw the spirits near. After all, tomorrow is
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Friday night once again. That's us back. Me and Drew are back. I've had my week off of kind of live streaming, but obviously I was away on Monday, and me and Alan get soaked in a thunderstorm. You know, that was spectacular. That
beautiful locations, Chris.
There was lightning and everything. But that'll be interesting Sunday when we go to that castle on Sunday. It's to be thunderstorms.
Ooh.
So, Drew, I've got a big metal pole for you. You have to stand in the field.
Oh my goodness!
Experience.
Yeah, we're a buzzing time.
Well, I would just like to say to everybody in the chat, thank you for coming in, guys. We've got 8 people watching already through the different paraposts, through Bald and Bonkers, and we're going out to quite a few places tonight. So, Drew, how have you been? How's the hot weather?
Oh, I have been great. I've been walking around all day with my grandson, taking walks back in, taking another walk back in, just to keep him amused.
It's awfully warm.
It's hot.
It's awfully warm. I mean, it's like a nuclear. I've had to turn my fan off. I've got my wee remote for my air conditioning thing, and it's not even doing it. It's just hot air. It's getting blowing against us. But tonight, guys, as you could probably tell by the title, we've actually got a very interesting case, a very interesting thing that happened in the 1500s, the later 1500s. And I learned something actually today about this. This Sawney bean we're going to be talking about tonight. Did you know in Edinburgh, in the dungeon, is it the dungeons? There's an event you can go to, and it's to do with the Sawney Bean clan.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. They've got torture things and things like that. Like you say, I bet that's what it is, and they've actually got skin, I think, off of somebody as well.
Oh
wow, that's going to be creepy. Christopher, please tell the guys news about your channel.
Oh, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are now monetized.
He did it, guys. He did it.
Yeah, there's a wee icon. I've still to fill in the kind of brochure bit, but you have to put in your tax stuff and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I've still to do that. I'll do that probably tomorrow or something like that. But I honestly didn't think it is. I would like to thank everybody that watches my videos, because obviously by doing that, you've got me monetized. Thank you very much. And I was shocked. It was like stuck on 3,550, and it just sat there for a week. It just sat there, and then all of a sudden, my YouTube Studio, know the app YouTube Studio,
right.
I get a weird message sent to me for YouTube.
Yeah,
congratulations, congratulations, you are now monetized. Would you like to enter a thing where people can become members, or people can donate through the wee bottom bit, doing the bottom, which is really good. And I was shocked. I was like, oh, look at that. There you go. All we need now is a multi-millionaire. You know, yes, you'll be next, Mystical. It doesn't take long. Look, I started this channel, 8 months ago?
Something like that.
Look at Bald and Bonkers, right? I started that channel when it was still Age of Darkness, right? In 2015.
It was the Lost Scotsman 0000 first.
Oh my God, you could still remember that. There you go. But it just shows you. It just shows you how quick. I mean, that's about 8 months.
You deserve it, Chris. You do the hard work for it. This man never stops, guys. He's always researching, always looking for the next location. Honestly, you truly deserve it.
Well, wait till you see where we're going on Sunday.
6 years.
We're actually going to be going to 2 different graveyards on Sunday, and the castle. They're all kind of close to each other. The Covington graveyard and chapel and castle, but I'm also going to another wee chapel that's mostly just people for the area it's in it, and it's kind of spooky looking, you know. I think it'll be quite interesting because of the thunderstorms and stuff like that. But honestly, guys, you have no idea the amount of locations we've got to go to. But we're also going to this location, which we're talking about tonight. Now, this has got a dark past. I mean, there's been like Hannibal. You've heard of Hannibal Lecter, right? Obviously, the fictional character Hannibal Lecter. But there's been cannibals throughout the years in the world that don't even touch this case. I mean, I was actually talking to Neil Story about this case, and he was telling me all about it because obviously he's researched it, being a historian that he is, a kind of paranormal historian.
Yeah.
And it's very dark. It's the things that they used to do to people would shock you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I actually found I researched the guy himself, the guy that did this. And I'm going to read you something. And how he starts out, he just starts off like randomly robbing people.
Do we know how long he did this for? Was it over like only 2 years, maybe decades? Do we know?
It's all written down in my notes, which I'll get to. But this cave, you can get to it, but they advise that you don't go inside it unless you know the ways in. Now, there's 3 ways in, right? But ladies and gentlemen, if you go to these places, please be careful. I have to clear that set there. Don't say, "Oh, I was watching a YouTube channel and there was a guy called Ghost Squad Scotland talking about going to it and I fell into it and stuff like that." Don't. Be very careful.
Do your own research.
Yeah, I would just like to say, people in the chat there, Phoenix, welcome. PWI Spiritual Investigators. I actually made Sherry an intro and an outro for her show, so I don't know when she's going live next. Craig Kelly, welcome. My mystical. I thought there's loads of people in here tonight.
Welcome,
my goodness me gracious. We've got Iron Fire Horse. Nearly forgot you there. You know, but anyway, further ado, because we've only got about an hour. Let's look at the pictures here, right? Now, I'm going to tell you a brief bit of the history. I'm going to tell you the quick story of this, and then I'm going to get into the deeper story. What happened is he lost his job and he had a clan, right? And it was quite a big clan, and they actually built that. They turned this into their house, you know. There was loads of them in this place, and it all started off with him going out and mugging people because they would travel along that road. That was the main road that went right past there, between there and there. And this is where it gets interesting. People were getting away and surviving and say, "Oh, that guy was mugging me. That guy's mugged me." And they were going to look the local police at that time, which was not really police. It was more like royalty, right? And they would send folk out and they would never fund them. And then he had this bright idea. He says, "You know something? It'd be easier just killing them." Right? So what he would do is he would rob them and then he would fling them off the cliff. And they would land at the bottom of the cave. Right? And what happened is, what happened is that's, which I'm going to get more into in a minute. This is where it gets dark. The food started to run low. Right? And so he basically mugged them, shoved them off the cliff. The cliff would kill them. Well, some of them survived by broken back, but basically still awake through it all. And then his family down below would take the body in, maybe still alive, hang it up in a meat hook, skin it, and eat it.
Oh, God.
Do you know that all the bones of the victims were thrown into the sea afterwards? Do you know, they reckon, right? They say there was over 1,000, right? But they reckon it could be more. It could be over 2,000 people met their end. So I'm just going to show you a wee bit of the place. I mean, it's... And then we'll get into the story itself, guys. So that's the main entrance into the place. I don't know if it's locked now because there's 3 other ways in. Let's have a look here. This is the culprit.
It's not what I pictured whatsoever. I pictured a little cave just with a little cubby hole, not bricks and things.
I've got some really good pictures of this, right? Well, there he is. He just robbed somebody. And you've got to remember when people will say to me, "Why don't you have it?" People are going to say this to me, and I do get this a lot. "Why don't you show coloured photos?" It was the 15th, nearly 16th century. Cameras weren't invented then. It was either artists or drawings. That's what you had. Well,
I'll start colouring them in first, right?
Aye. But look, this is interesting. This is him. He's obviously killed somebody, chopped their head off, right? And he's decided, dinner's up. Get the big pot on, Morag. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually had to go scouring looking for this. This is them in their cave, and that's the man himself, his wee pistols.
It looks as if they're actually celebrating taking a body through, doesn't it? As if, right, come on.
That is a body.
Time.
That is a body, because I'm about to show you. So I've actually got these illustrations. I get permission to use because I had to go into like a place to download them.
Right.
And it gets dark. It really does get dark, right? I mean, that's them there chopping people up. If you look at that picture of the clan having a party, look at the guy sitting. He's got a head there. A lot of people think, he's sitting on top of somebody. No, that's somebody's head.
Yeah.
They're going to be having him for his dinner.
The body's sitting headless at the bottom of his feet.
Mm-hmm. See, this is quite an interesting. This is them obviously cooking them and that, you know.
Yeah, still in Gaelic.
Yeah, and this is an interesting one because, see, eventually when he did get caught, but I'm going to read you some of its history before this. When he did get caught, the local military then, the lord or the king of the area, basically marked. Somebody escaped, right, and managed to make it back to a castle, and he told them, right, and the whole army turned up at the cave. I mean, the whole army turned up. There was like maybe 500 men turned up, more, and they went inside, and seemingly, the stories go, there was skulls lining the walls.
Wow!
But it's not just that; they were chucking all the bones into the sea.
And it actually looks in that photo as if they're behind the cave wall and somebody's pointing out to where they are. Did you notice that? It's as if the man's saying they're up there, they're up there.
What's this one here? What, this
Look,
one?
the man's pointing up.
That's them.
Up there.
That's the guy that got away, I think.
Right.
That's the guy that got away. You can see them. I mean, the conditions that they were in were terrible. Yeah. I mean, they were depraved. They were marching about the cave basically naked and stuff like that. They were like mad, raving mad. Right. I'll read you a wee bit of it, right? Well, right, here is your early life, how Sweeney Bain is believed to have been born in East Lothian in the late 15th century. This is what I've managed to find out. Let's see. He was a tanner. And do you know what a tanner is, Drew?
Yeah, that's somebody that actually tans the skin and things to make leather.
Quite interesting, that, isn't it?
Yeah, conveniently.
It is. So it makes you wonder if he was an expert at skinning things.
Oh, probably.
Right. But anyway, he actually lost his job in the later part of his life. And a little bit documents following location. He moved to like a town in East Ayrshire. Now, it's quite interesting because he started robbing people. How it goes is the newlywed, that's him, Mr. and Mrs. Sweeney Bain, set up home at the cave. What a place to move into.
Yeah. Come on, honey, let's go to our new marital spot.
The threshold of the cave, you know.
I wonder if he did.
Maybe he did. Maybe climbing over the bones. But he didn't do it. He really know. Right, Mr. Sweeney being set up home at Brindley Cave by Blantyre in Ayrshire, Scotland. Bain's Cave was rather an imposing, right? It was how it's set up, right? And I've got the photos there. There's 3 ways in. There's down to the top. There's in when the tide comes in, you can't get in.
Right.
So it's the perfect house.
Yeah.
It's the perfect castle. It's the best. It's perfect, right?
Yeah.
But the cave was rather an imposing abode with tunnels penetrating the solid rock and extending more than a mile in length. So there's tunnels that are sealed up to this day. In addition to the accommodation, they featured lots of passages where young couples could extend into it, covered over. So people go there, right?
Yeah.
To like, hello, darling, do you want to go and see the cave where all the cannibals are? You know, let's go there. You know, but this is where it gets interesting. Over the years, right? Over the next 25 years, a growing family, right? So he had a growing family, had kids and relations and God knows, a growing family. The entrance was flooded for several hundred meters. So when the tide came in, you could not get out of there.
Right.
I've actually got a picture here for you. Right. Now that's, you can see his wee fireplace there. Not that you have to make a good job of that, didn't it?
Actually looks quite cozy, to be honest.
It does, doesn't it? It does. That's where it floods.
Right.
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 Right. So the cave's entrance was flooded for several hundred meters. So that cave totally floods. So it's completely impenetrable.
Right.
But when the tide, when the tide goes out, that's how you get them. That's how they go at them in the first place.
Right.
Right. So Sweeney's plan to support his new wife on the proceeds of robbery. This is quite interesting. Is a simple enough matter to ambush travellers and the lonely, narrow roads. I shouldn't be laughing at this. It contacted to the village's area. Then it dawned on him that in order to help make sure that he could never be identified his crimes, he should murder his victims to avoid those unnecessary visits. Right? So it was basically murdering it was robbing them and murdering them.
Yeah.
At the same time, if the evidence came, the bright idea of butchering the bodies provided at a high protein diet and human meat for himself and his wife. The high protein diet seemed to have been effective as Mrs. Bean began to produce little babies.
One after the other, like.
14 little children.
Oh my
babies.
God.
14 she had in total, each with a very unhealthy appetite for human flesh. As the Bain babies grew up and in turn thought interest in Procedure Bain's babies of their own, so they were breeding with each other.
Right.
So they were breeding
So
with each
their
other.
kids are going to grow up with that as their diet straight away. They're not going to even know what normal food probably is.
Yeah.
No wonder they all ended up a little bit cuckoo.
I know. Look at that. That's quite a spooky location in the cave.
Oh, looks like something up the back of the cave.
Of their own cooking pots. They actually had their own cooking pots, increased in size dramatically over 2 decades. This is how long they were doing this, for 2 decades.
There you go.
The generations of the Bairn babies grew up in the Bairn cave, referring their skills of murder and cannibal, right? So that's what they did. The kids grew up as expert murderers and cannibals. They say they could skin a body in 10 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So this is quite interesting. It says the murder cannibal included a lost art of salting and packing the flesh, and finds of curious preserved but decaying body parts were discovered washed up in the surrounding beaches in the area. We're getting right into this, guys. This is where it gets really deep. I mean, I'm just going to go to the chat here. It's disgusting, isn't it? I mean, they were butchering. They were butchering these people like cattle.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people that go to this cave quite regular, and they say the place it's haunted. It's really, it's really bad. I mean, this is really bad. As the years went by, the family grew older, and thanks to their high protein diet, a bigger as family grew, did their appetite. As many as half a dozen victims would be ambushed and killed at a time in military-style operations. The Sweeney Bain army, the bodies were taken back to the cave to be carefully prepared for the larder by the women folk.
Oh my. So they had stock.
Why? It's a new and a Tesco's Direct kind of thing, isn't it?
Well, that's where they get probably the idea.
What's that?
I wonder, though. I mean, I don't know if eating. I mean, I don't even like thinking about this, but if you're human and you start eating human bodies for birth till they were caught, then that's got to do something to your psyche. It's got to just be. Oh, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm gobsmacked, guys.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't just do this to adults and things. They did this to children.
20 years to get caught. Imagine all the skeletons and the skulls and
whole families were
going
missing.
Thing. Was there no things made out of bone and things or something?
Aye.
Or am I thinking that other guy?
Aye, they were using bones to make stuff and all that.
Oh, wow.
See, the thing is, they dumped it into the sea afterwards, some of the stuff into the sea afterwards, and as we all know, the sea is quite corrosive.
Yeah.
Because bones are obviously get eaten by little fishes and that. That's why there's no victims for the Titanic or that. I mean, you can't fund them because there's nothing left of them.
Yeah.
Hey, Liz Millie. Welcome
to
even the best planned operations, however, something go wrong. It happened one evening for Sweeney Bain Army, right? When they seen something and they attacked it, like they usually do. A man and his wife, as they were returning home from a nearby fair, one group pulled the woman from her horse and her stripped and disemboweled before the other group had a chance to wrestle the man. That's how quick they were at this. To the ground, realizing their fate was about to fall, Ham fought desperately to escape, driving his horse into and over his attackers. As he fought them, his group of 20 or so people returning from a fair happened upon the scene. After a brief and violent exchange, Sweeney Bain Army found itself for the first time ever at a devastating. Right, so they basically had to retreat back. They had to retreat to the cave. Probably I'm just trying to find my spot here where I've been reading. I was lost. Back to the cave, considered his situation is retreated. They left behind the mutilated body of the woman as advised and scores of witnesses. Very angry husband. When you think about it, by the time they pulled that woman off the horse, they had disemboweled her and chopped her head off.
It must have been really quick. I wonder how many people was in their army. There must have been a few of them that headed out of the cave. Probably about 15 of them. 7 of them take the woman, 7 of them will take the man. So it must have been like done.
See, this is interesting. This is what happened after this. The man was taken before the chief magistrate of Glasgow, who, after hearing the tale and putting this together with his long missing persons list, which is over 2,000, and many reports of mysterious packed body parts washing up in nearby beaches, straight to the King James, he promptly arrived in Ayrshire. King James came up.
Wow.
Promptly arrived in Ayrshire with a small army of 400 men and packed a tracker dogs. Together, a band of local volunteers launched one of the biggest manhunts in the country had ever seen.
My goodness.
Aye. I mean, it's quite interesting what Mr. Cole loves there. Eats human brains, you'll eventually get disease. Aye, but you think about it.
Yep.
They started off with 2 folk.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had kids. And then they kids had kids with each other. And they kids had kids with each other.
Yeah. Crazy. I bet you as well in that area, people were just assuming that people were falling in the sea.
That's what they were thinking, yeah.
And things, or falling down the cave. And
well, it's quite interesting what it says here. Like before, the search entered through the Ayrshire countryside coastline, and like before, nothing was discovered. That was, however, until the dogs picked up in the scent of decaying human flesh. Whilst passing a party waterlogged cave, the manhunt was closing in. By torchlight, the troops entered the cave, and with swords drawn, they proceeded down the mile-long twisty passages to the inner depths of Sweeney. That's what I have to tell you here. See the pictures I showed you. It only goes so far because it's been bricked off.
Right, so you can't get right into
I don't think you can get right. I think there's ways.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Bain family, nothing could have protected them for the sight they witnessed that day. Damp walls of the caves, blood running down the walls, with rocks upon row of human limbs, body parts, disembodied heads used as light lanterns. So they'd cut the top of the skull off and they'd put a
That
candle
would be even
inside
a
the head.
creepy sight. Walking into a cave with skulls at either side that you fill with candles. Wow.
Up on human limbs, the body parts meant hanging like a butcher's shop. Other areas of the scales stored bundles of cloth, piles of watches, rings, and heaps of discarded bones from previous people. After a brief fight, the entire Sweeney Brown family, all 48 of them to be exact. That's 48 for two folk. That's amazing, that, isn't it?
48?
All 48 of them were arrested and marched off to Edinburgh. This is quite interesting. They were marched off to Edinburgh by the king himself. Their crimes were considered so heinous that the normal justice system for which Scotland so renowned was abandoned, and the entire family were sentenced to death. The following day, 27 men of the family met their fate, similar to many of their victims, by having their legs and arms cut off while they were still alive. After being left to slowly bleed to death, watched by their women, that's the women that were left, were burned like witches and hung.
Oh my.
So the men were tied down. Now let me just say this to you. The men were tied down and they had their legs and arms cut off while they were still alive. And they bled out. Then they took all the women, tied them to posts, and burned them alive.
Oh God.
You think about what they've done, the thousands of people that they've eaten.
They're obviously not got any humanity in them whatsoever.
It's interesting what it says here. And so bailed the Sweeney Bean records their end. They hung them high in Edinburgh town, it says here. Like their kin. The wind blows could on their bones. It must be some poem.
Yeah.
It's so, I mean, this is where we kind of leave the story now and we go into the kind of how horrific that was. I ken they'd done terrible things, but can you imagine cutting someone's arms and legs off and they just bled away?
Leaving them to bleed out? Wow, that's so barbaric.
And then they tamed the woman, which there was some younger woman.
Yeah.
Tied and then just burnt them all at the stake at once.
Did anybody ever join them, or was it all just stemmed from
I don't
those
know.
two?
I don't really know. I mean,
That is pure evil, Sherry. There, you're right.
I mean, I didn't go into it like I should have. I mean, when they went into it was quite graphic what I read, right?
Yeah.
Really graphic what I've read. And there was one man that witnessed it, says when there was with the soldier of the king, they walked in. See how I told you there was like skulls with candles in them?
Yeah.
There was like pots bubbling away with like arms sticking out them and stuff like that.
Oh my goodness. See, that's crazy, isn't it? Imagine the sight of that. Being that local people that went in there to... I bet you some of those people had family that was missing as well. Because if you think about it, if that town is where they rambled up everybody to go find them, then it's obviously people for that town that's went missing through the years. So the chances are that the people that went looking was probably people whose families were missing. Could you
think
imagine
about people?
that?
You think of the people that were not reported missing?
Yeah.
Because they had no family.
Crazy.
I mean,
crazy.
A lot of people have searched the waters and that to see if they can find stuff in that, but they've not found it. As I say, the sea's very corrosive.
Yeah.
But let's just look at this illustration again.
Look, they've got skulls on their swords and things.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's as if they're standing listening to them coming, isn't it? There's as if they're behind the cave wall, just listening to these people coming to get them.
But look at the people's teeth, the clan's teeth.
But mad. They look very, very...
Look, it's a barbecue.
Oh, so it is. That looks like a kid too. That's terrible.
That is, yeah. As I say, guys, this show's for 18 years old. Get what I mean? I've got it rated for that.
Yeah, it's got to be rated.
It's
crazy. It's just
oh, yeah.
out of this world. I mean, they're obviously real drawings of people that was there at the time that was coming from memory.
It's
terrible. It's just something that as a Scottish person, I'm really ashamed of. I said that in my Facebook post as I was sharing it. It's one of these dark tales of Scotland that's really not good for us.
But here's the interesting fact. Can you imagine how haunted this location is?
Oh, aye. Oh, my. All those lost souls, no knowing what happened. So traumatic as well. Being your arms and legs chopped off and led to just bleed out. And seeing all that carnage around you as well. While you're lying there. It's got to be beyond nightmares. Beyond nightmares.
Oh, my camera will no turn on. What's going on here?
What you done, Christopher?
It's no done nothing. It's just no turning on. That's strange, that.
Wow.
When I was showing a picture there, it just went wonky.
Yeah,
see, this is what I mean when you get into subjects.
Mystical. It's just as a Scottish person, I feel ashamed that somebody that's Scottish could do that to another Scottish person. It's terrible. Welcome in, Disco.
But here's an interesting fact, right? Hey, Disco Tina. I mean, you look at the Donner Party in America. It was the same for the Donner Party. You know who I'm talking about? The Donner Party.
No.
That was people in America will know this one. People in Britain might know. It was a Donner Party. They were traveling. I can't remember where it was in the United States, and they get basically stuck in a snowdrift for like a few months, for like a month or two, and they had no food.
Right.
So they started eating the dead. When somebody died, they had them for their dinner.
I've heard about the aeroplane crash in the Andes. That happened, and they had to start eating each other just for survival purposes. That's different. That is totally different. That is something that as a group, when you are alive, you make that decision together.
There you go. There's my brother. It was Colorado, the Donner Party. And I'm just saying, Drew, if you're obviously watching this, we're talking about the Cannibals in Scotland. There was the Donner Party in the United States. And I mean, they ate their horses, and then when the horses ran out, they ate the dead.
Yeah.
I mean, we should actually do a show
in those circumstances, though, if it's a crash or something like that, usually as a group, they'll come to some sort of decision. Look, this is getting quite grim here. If the first person that dies, are we allowed to eat you? Usually that's the conversation. That's what happened in that crash with the aeroplane. They did all
decide. The football team, that's right. I mean, totally right, hypothetically, right, say, for instance, you're stuck in a desert island, there's no food whatsoever, but luckily your pal's there and he's just dropped in dead. Would you eat him?
Oh, I've got to, aye. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
What's that, Drew? His name's Bean. What is it?
Sawney Bean.
Sawney Bean.
Sawney and then bean, like baked bean.
Yeah.
I think I could probably, if I was stuck somewhere and the person that died gave me permission that if they died and it was a case of survival, I would say to them, look, if I die before you, you're welcome to eat any part of me that you wish for survival. You know, it's got to be, you would have to make that decision with the person that is with you so that in your conscience you would know.
But these people were like dragged off their horses, right? And then, you know how he killed some of them? You know how he killed them? He would rob them and take them to the edge of the cliff, and they would say, let me go. And I would say, no problem, and shove them off. And they would fall right down to the bottom, which would kill them, right? And then the women folk would go collect the body, and within half an hour, it was bones and stuff that was left.
How often did they get a body? Do we know? Was it like once every 2 months, or was it every couple of weeks? Or
it was over the space of 20 years.
Well, can you imagine if they hadn't had any food for a couple of months, and how much of a frenzy they would be, probably ripping the body apart and things.
Well, you look at that woman, right? The man that got away, right? His wife, in the space of about 10, 15 seconds, they pulled her off the horse, chopped her head off, and disemboweled her.
Yeah. That's only like a minute's job as well, so that just shows you they've done it.
A lot of people think too that they cooked them. There's actually stuff out there where they didn't cook them.
Right.
Where they just sat there and
nibbled away.
Yeah.
They probably got to that stage. Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy.
It's terrible. It is absolutely terrible. It's something that is not even as a Scottish person, as another human. I don't know. I would need permission of the person that was with me. That if anything happened, same with me, I think I would have to give them their permission to eat me if they needed to. Because it's just something as a...
You better not say that. You better not say that, Drew. You might be in a plane crash one day. My brother, it's in the chat, and he'll be like,
"That's okay, Drew.
He'll be sitting with a knife, sharpening it up, looking at you, thinking, I wonder what will happen to
How do you feel in the chat? Would you let somebody eat you? I think I would. I think I would say, look, if needs must, you're allowed to do it. But I would need to give that permission, and I think I would need that person to have my permission. As a human.
It's one of the worst things you could probably do is being a human is eating another human.
Yeah. I think
that's my mystical, let's see. Not me. I would say if I died, you better not touch my body, or I will come back and haunt you till the
internet. But then again, if you were the one starving, would you do it to the person beside
you? There's
you?
Fire Horse. If anybody's in on a plane, I'm going to remember that. If I'm on a plane with you and it crashes in the Amazonian jungle, and I've ran out of roasted peanuts, I'm going to have you, my friend.
I've been that hungry where you would eat anything, believe me. So I can see how they would do it. It gets to a stage where you do get that hungry that you would practically eat out of bins and things. So think about it. That is the next stage.
It's
crazy.
I don't know why I'm laughing, but it's one of the horrendous cases.
It's so just daft. That's why it's like a humour thing, because we can't believe it.
Well, that thing Drew says there. What's his name? Aye, what's his name? What will be is he'll bring on the thing. He says, "Yes, I have a human leg here. What can you do with this? With a packet of soft noodles?"
Ryan, I don't know, because you're hungry and you know. And plus, if you're in a crash site, you'll always be hoping that aeroplane comes, that boat comes. So even that thought of just hanging on another couple of days.
But here's the thing that I think about, right? You talk about spirits that have not crossed over, right? You think of the spirits that sat there and watched somebody eat them.
Yeah, no, that's upsetting. To think somebody's spirit would be standing watching you. Yeah, that's a bit different.
I need to say this. Whole families disappeared. Like maybe a man and his wife. Right. Oh, a man and his wife and like 3 children would disappear. I think it was killing about an average of 2 people every days or something. 1 person a day or something like that. I don't really know the statistics, but they say it's about 1,500.
See how accessible the place is. We'll have a better idea, guys.
Yes. I mean, oh God, just thinking about the spirits that watched. I mean, can you imagine doing that to somebody's skull? Is coring it out and then putting a candle inside it and using it as a lantern.
It's probably that natural to them, though. I mean, if their kids were brought up in that environment, they wouldn't know any better. They would just think, look, this is the way it is. You know? They wouldn't even doubt it. Yeah. It would be just like a joiner just going out to put a, You know what I mean? It'd just be like somebody just doing their job.
What's for dinner, Dad? What's for dinner,
Oh, we're
Ma?
having,
I don't know.
See that Bob guy we got yesterday, son? We're having his liver with some onions.
Aye, the windy cleaner's gone pie soon. Wait for him, you know.
Dad, that guy that does the post, I really think he should be next.
Mm-hmm.
He looks juicy.
I shouldn't laugh, but honestly, it's one of the most. It's the most horrific case. One of the horrific cases in Scotland.
It's just.
I see. There's a thing you can do. You can actually go into Edinburgh to the vaults, and there's a thing you can go into, and it's like an event to do with the Cannibals.
Right.
You can buy the tickets and stuff like that. Who do you think we should go to the event?
Makes a good point. I couldn't. I'd get in me. I'd eat plants. See, there's always the alternative. They didn't need to eat people. You're right.
But let me put something to you. You've not had anything to eat for a week, right? Your wife brings in, or whoever's watching this, your wife or your husband brings in a wee plate of, what do you call them, dandelions, right? Leaves, because you can eat dandelions.
Yeah.
And sits in front of you with some nettles, and you're like, right. But then the man, Sawney, comes in with a big juicy steak. And it's cooking there, and it's cooking with bubble and fat and all that. My brother Drew up in the chat there, slavers up off his chin.
You can see how they would do it, though. They're really, honestly, especially if they've been brought up with no knowing any better. It's something that they wouldn't even think about. The kids would just be that used to getting their dinner put down to them, they would just eat it.
What's that iron fire horse? Let's see.
It makes you wonder, though, did they ever have any deformities, any of the kids? And did they eat each other?
They were all in bed. They don't know. They don't know. So if any of them died, yeah, they probably had. Oh, look, cousin Eddie's dead. Oh, we'll have him for lunch.
Oh, so he'd taste nice.
At 14? Can you imagine having 14 kids?
That's a lot of mouths to feed. 3 meals a day, maybe 4.
I bet it was over 2,000. I bet it was more than 2,000 folk.
Yeah, I bet it was.
It was that. So close you wouldn't be down.
I bet they were skinny. I bet they were good chunky people.
It's a good source of protein.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good source of protein. I mean, look, if you were in a survival situation, I don't know if you could bring yourself to it, but you came with hunger can do you.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I've been there. I'm telling you.
Look what happened to the Jews in World War II and the concentration camps. They had no food, so they would take a leather shoe and boil it and then eat the leather.
Oh, wow. That's extreme.
Was it Iron Fire Horse? I drank urine too, didn't they? Oh, God. They drank urine too, didn't they? In a plane crash, not sure. Maybe something went wrong with the show. Is that not the old Eskimo? Is that not the old Eskimo? That's the old Eskimo saying that. Never drink tea, never make tea with yellow snow. You know? I love reading the chat if folk in this. Honestly,
you wouldn't be dehydrated.
Take a packet of wagon wheels. See, yeah, we were talking about this the other night there when we were playing the Xbox. Actually, we were talking about you ever seen that film with Castaway?
Yeah.
And how he knocked his tooth out with an ice skate. Well, you imagine the kids that grew up in there, right? And the people that never went anywhere, they only stood at that one point. Can you imagine them pulling their own teeth out?
I know. See, this is it. You just get used to living a certain type of way. And if you're bringing kids into that, they're going to just get used to doing as you tell them, putting down to whatever. They're not going to question their mums and dads or aunties or uncles, whoever. They're going to just live the life that they're living and no question anything.
Well, they weren't
Maybe
really.
until
They weren't
one of their
marrying each
friends.
other. They were just going out with each other. So the sister and brother would have kids.
Mhm.
Oh God!
It's
I
all
mean,
strange.
aye.
Even
What's
that.
what's this? I'm just reading it. A Brazilian worker who worked with my husband. He told me that in Brazil they would catch cats and skin them and cook them to sell them as. Well, they were rabbits. Oh God!
Selling they were rabbits. Wow. Thank God I didn't eat that either. Only chicken breast, and that is not other meat for me. I get
See,
it.
that's the thing. How do you know what you're eating nowadays?
Well, there
Have you?
was rumours up here that that Chinese down the street, it's not open anymore. But there was rumours away back in the 90s, the 80s, 90s, that the chicken wasn't chicken, it was cat. And they did get closed down.
A lot of cats missing in the neighbourhood.
Yep, they did get closed down.
I
But
mean,
that was rumoured because they were sleeping in the shop that they were meant to get closed down for. But who knows?
it's just it dreads things what you're eating nowadays when you go somewhere.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you don't know what you're eating. It could be anything. This is lovely beef. Where did you get it from? Oh, there was somebody
That's why I don't like
passing through town the
takeaways.
other day.
That's why I'm not a big takeaway fan. I've worked in takeaways and I know that some of them might not be the cleanest.
No.
So there's a lot of things in takeaways go on that you don't realise. Things falling on the floor and you've not got
Yeah.
any more chicken nuggets or whatever defrosted. Do you do the 5-second rule and pick it up and put it in the box? Or do you go back through the back and start again with more nuggets?
Well,
Nobody's
the
going to
Bain family,
know.
they didn't have chicken nuggets. They had other types of nuggets.
They turned people into chicken nuggets.
I mean, I was going to make a joke there, but then I thought
No,
I better.
we better not take it. It's all right, a wee giggle and things, but we better not go too far
Aye.
with the jokes.
I mean,
it is sick.
it is sick, and it's.
Just so strange. They got away with it for so long.
Because you've got to remember, in the 1600s, the early 1600s, there was no like phones and technology.
There was no schooling.
I mean, there was no no, there was. If you went missing, you weren't on like a register. Your birth wasn't on a register. So if you went missing, the only way you would know you were missing is if you had family, and if you didn't have family,
yeah.
okay, I mean, and
with times being so tough as well, people maybe did think that people just went to the edge of the water and threw themselves in because they couldn't stand the poverty conditions anymore and things. So there would be a lot of assumption that people took their own life.
See, you would think there was barrels washing ashore full of body parts. You would think to yourself, where did the body parts come from? Because that's what it was. What happened is the tide would come in and carry off their larder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy, and
they maybe just thought it fell off ships or something.
Aye, I think
it'll
be an interesting place to go.
Honestly, I can't
There'll be a guy standing with a fork and knife. You'll get the pitch. You'll pick a picture of a ghost with a fork and knife in their hands. Yeah.
I'll say, "Eat crusties, get more meat in me."
It makes me wonder what my mystical loving light will see when you're panning the camera about.
Oh,
You know.
I think we better take a lot of energy dissolving crystals with us that day.
Aye. Talking about a location. Where are we going on Sunday, Drew?
Oh, you've got a couple of places we're going, Christopher, have we not?
3 places.
Don't tell me any names. Where are we going?
We are going to Covington Cemetery and Churchyard. We're also going to another little secret location, which I'm going to film first. Going round the graves. I'm going to maybe go live for the areas, right? Which will be interesting. But I thought we'd film at this location. Mind I went in the winter with Alan.
Yeah.
So that's Covington Tower from the 1300s or so, 1300s, and that's inside it.
Welcome, Nando.
Look at that inside
Nice. See, we can do
Yeah.
a lot more experiments if we get a square box, if you like, to interact in, because we can start setting up maybe even a little laser grid or different things.
Can you imagine what it's got to be like in there in the thunderstorms?
It'll be hot. We'll just need to hide in the little doorway.
I'll be fine. Alan's coming. He can hold an umbrella.
Spirit's coming every 2 seconds.
He can hold an umbrella, but it'll be interesting because I've got a feeling we'll catch something with the thunder and lightning because they'll be able to use that energy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to be atrocious weather, like, but hopefully it'll be dry for the Saturday. You know, who have we got in the chat there? Who have we got? And what he's all saying here. Look at the opening on the left. Phoenix, look at the opening on the left. There's something there. Let's have a look. The left. Are you talking about the dark patch? You can't get up the stairs because the stairs are all crumbled.
I would have said that it's more to the right. It looks as if there's a spirit standing in that long bit. It looks like a little skeleton head.
Whereabouts is that? What you saying?
See, know how there's my left, it's got the 2 little windows.
Aye.
Not that side, the other side where it's got the big long bit. The very first big long bit on the right. It looks as if there's maybe somebody standing, a skeleton type of figure, but it could be the bricks.
It's an imposing building.
Left, there's someone there.
Let's have a look.
I don't know, sis. I can't see.
I was drawn to the dark patch in my left-hand side. You don't see the dark kind of room. You can't get up there anymore. Nobody's been up there for about 200 years.
It just looks a lot of darkness, doesn't it? Mystical's agreeing. Where are you seeing that? The dark one beside the round one in the middle. The dark one. It's because you can see spirits. I think you are getting to see them, guys.
It makes you wonder what they'll see on Sunday once the video is uploaded.
Yeah, I just hope it's not too much energy for you. I hope it's not
the thunderstorms, you know.
Yeah, that's gonna be exciting. I've never ever managed to actually time it good enough yet to be either on location when a thunderstorm comes or just after it. So it's going to be good to see if everything they say is true about the energy hyping right up.
Because if you say take some energy for the storms, they might manifest. You might see something. You might catch something. You never know.
Make sure you pan in slowly. We can catch more. We'll definitely will, Phoenix. We'll try and take our time with the camera on Sunday.
I actually did a video of this location.
Oh, so
remember
you
I did it with Alan. I'm trying to remember where it is.
There's Sherry Cedars at the top as well.
There's Covington Tower, Castle, Scotland. I'll post it in the chat.
Yeah, put the links in. See if you get a little watch, guys, and see if you see anything there. Then let us know, and we'll try and shout out for them on Sunday.
Just coming back.
These two are playing. Probably football.
There you go, guys. In the chat, there is the link to the video I did there. That was with Alan in the winter time.
It'll be interesting to see what you pick up, and then we can shout out on Sunday if you do find anything. We'll shout out to the spirits and see if they want to talk to us. It'll be good to see Alan. I've not seen Alan for over... Oh, that's been a while for seeing Alan, Chris. 2 years.
What, about a year? I mean, the last time you seen him is when we went down to Birchwood, wasn't it?
So it was, way back. Aye, that's right, so it was. Nice to see him. I like Alan.
Steve McCollum What's that? Yeah, boil the bones, you find the wood and eat it.
Oh, yeah, I bet a lot of people did that as well, just to get some nourishment in them, Steve.
The marrow.
Yep.
The marrow. I mean, I will watch that. Please like, subscribe, share that. Thank you very much, my mystical. I'm actually really pleased how I've been monetized so quick. So that's really,
You deserve
really
it, Chris.
good.
You really do. If anybody deserves it, you do. You've put the work in all these years to find locations, research them, and put the effort in. You really do deserve it. If anybody
I've
else
found
does, you do.
an amazing location near Edinburgh, but I can't tell you where that is. I can only tell you
Don't
that.
say it on a live.
I can't tell it in the live. It's one of the locations that it's probably never been investigated. But when it does get investigated, it's got to be absolutely amazing. But I can't tell you who it is because we've got lurkers.
I know.
So let's see where everybody's watching for the night. Let's see who we got. We've got Parapost. Yeah, we've got quite a lot of people watching. 15 tonight, guys. Thank you very much, Mystical Love and Light. So Drew, do you have a live tomorrow? Oh, she's disappeared, ladies and gentlemen. The aliens have got her.
Sorry, guys, I'm back. Yes, I have. So I'm going live tomorrow at Les Mexico Highland Games, guys. The procession here starts at 12. So I'll be down in the park about 1 and I'll live stream if I can. If it's too loud, I'll end the live and do a video. Vice versa, I'll let you see all the bands and things.
You should do a live for the waltzers.
I don't think there is any.
Wait, I would love to see that. You're sitting in the waltzers with your phone, spinning around about.
That'd be quite
that'd
cool.
be awesome.
We should have got only to do it when the shows were here the other week there.
It'll be Douglas. It'll be my village gala day next week, I think it is. But I can't be arsed with it anyway because it's not the same as it used to be.
I know. I just like to hear pipes.
Steve Malcolm, is this us getting the deep and Graham? You mean?
Yes, definitely.
Phoenix. Chris, last week, did you see the message I left on your last video? Orbs. I seen them in the car. I seen them. Thank you. I see the wee white orb going in about, and then boom. I was parked right next to an old abandoned church. I was in the car park next to it.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
You know. But I'll tell you something. I don't know about any use, but it's very warm.
It definitely is still warm. I need to keep opening windows, closing windows, getting the wipes out, washing my face.
I just go and turn the shower on and stand underneath it. It's on the cold setting. It comes down for the hill, the big reservoir up the back, and it's freezing.
Cool.
Oh, it's good. It really is. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got 2 lives at the weekend and 1 video coming out. So remember, subscribe, share, and like. I know you've already done that. Remember, there's memberships and there's also other things you can do to help support the channel. Do you know what? You know what I've went and made, and they'll be getting delivered next week. Hats.
Oh, good stuff with sparkle. Oh, good.
They're actually white baseball caps with the Ghost Squad Scotland logo on them.
I'll wear one with pride. So I will.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all have a fantastic weekend. Sherry, are you live tomorrow or that? You can try out your new trailer that I made you. Remember,
see, before you do go, is it okay if you make us up, while I've got you here, make us up a disclosure for the beginning of our chats, because we do want to start putting disclosures out, guys, because the things that we are going to start teaching you in our channels is going to be a little bit controversial probably to a lot of people.
What do you mean disclosure?
It is our beliefs. Just really saying that this is our beliefs. If you don't agree with us, type of thing. We'll talk about it later, but it's just
talk about it later. I'll see what I can do there. So everybody, thank you very much for coming. Catch you all later. And I need to fund the trailer now because I've been yapping too much and I can't fund it. I can make you a trailer, a wee trailer or something for your videos. That's what I'll do. I'll talk to you behind the scenes, Drew. Catch you later, everybody. Have fun.
Thank you for joining us on this exciting adventure with Ghost Squad Scotland. Our team of experienced ghost hunters use the latest technology to explore the paranormal and uncover the truth about the unknown. Don't forget that we're affiliated with Spirit Shack, the UK's premier ghost hunting equipment store, so you can trust our equipment to be top-notch. Plus, we have exclusive Ghost Squad Scotland merch available on our Zazzle store, so you can show your support for the team in style. And if you can't get enough of our ghost hunting adventures, be sure to tune into the Bald and Bonkers TV network to catch our show in action. Content creators can even have their own content syndicated on the network, or create their own custom online TV channel by visiting baldandbonkers.net. Thank you for your support. And remember to always keep an open mind.